It's been a big week in our nation's capital with a new House Speaker, other issues to start off this new year, and one of the first priorities House Republicans are taking up involves two anti-abortion measures.
And our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp joins us now live from the U.S. Capitol with more. Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Mike and Eva. Republicans are pushing legislation that could potentially subject doctors who perform abortions to criminal penalties, and they are also condemning those who target churches and pregnancy centers.
On Wednesday, the House Republican majority passed two anti-abortion measures. One would require that infants born alive after an attempted abortion get the same care as any newborn. And it also threatens medical providers with up to 5 years behind bars for failing to resuscitate infants born alive during abortions. According to the New York Times, live births during an abortion are exceedingly rare, and there's already laws on the books that requires that a baby who survives an attempted abortion receive emergency medical care. But this new bill, which passed largely along party lines, lays out the penalties for violators and clarifies the standards of care. The second legislation condemns violence against pro-life facilities, groups, and churches.
What has happened literally now at hundreds of crisis pregnancy centers and churches around the country this past year is just flat out wrong. On May 8, 2022, Mother's Day, activists targeted a pro-life nonprofit center in Madison, Wisconsin, setting it ablaze and vandalizing it with the words, "If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either."
Republicans list a handful of other examples. Many of these incidents followed the leaked Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which legalized abortion. It happened at one church outside of D.C. last summer, where we saw crews cleaning up graffiti left behind with foul language on their walls.
In a democracy, violence is never the answer to a political dispute, and it should be roundly condemned in all its forms.
Democrats say the resolution doesn't condemn violence against abortion providers.
I'm concerned that by refusing to condemn violence against providers, this resolution will inadvertently send a signal to anti-abortion extremists that violence against abortion providers is justified by the vandalism described in the resolution.
That second measure also passed again along party lines, mostly along party lines. And as far as how our local Pennsylvania representatives, how they voted for these, both Representative Mike Kelly and Glenn Thompson voted for both those measures.